Hey, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Q. And guess what? We are 3 days into VCT lock-in. That means we have had 8 games, which means we have had 8 teams we had to send home. And I figured, what better chance? And then right now to talk about, well, quite frankly, just how bad my Pickems were heading into the alpha bracket. And what better chance for redemption than to kind of talk about how, well, at least the picks that I needed to be right were right. Kind of, sort of. Mostly. Anyways, let's go ahead and break down into it. I figured we can go ahead and talk about how the first 8 games went. And let's go ahead and talk about our picks from here on out. And of course, if you guys are looking for a good place to make sure y'all are tuning in and watching our remainder of our alpha bracket, we got 3 days left as far as Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to be tuned in right here for some watch parties starting at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're not subscribed, hit that bell, turn those notifications on. That way we can get y'all right back here for that if that's what you're looking for. But let's go ahead and talk about as far as how the alpha bracket has shaped out thus far. We talked about in the first video as far as our pick'ems, how we expected our Koi and NRG opening game to go pretty well how it went. NRG pretty well in control. Koi didn't look awful. NRG just, well, quite frankly, simply looked better. So that's why they are moved on into that quarterfinals. As far as the Detonation and Giants gaming, I expected Detonation Focus Me to be able to come out on top in that matchup. And actually what we saw, Giants were able to win in a 2-0 sweep. And it wasn't just a 2-0 sweep. They looked very, very dominant. They held Detonation to just 11 rounds between the two maps of both Haven and Icebox. I do think because of how good they looked against Detonation Focus Me, I think they are going to be putting up a fight up against NRG. But we'll go ahead and talk about the expectation of how that game shapes out later. Now, technically, Genji and Loud, that was actually the last game that got done. Actually, that just got done here, what, like an hour and a half ago before we recorded this. But that was just because of some health issues that they had going on. They gave them a couple of extra days. But Genji actually looked really good, even though it was a sweep and Loud did end up winning 2-0. Actually, on Fractured, they pushed it into overtime. Genji looked good. Loud did just remind everyone that this is their core of the team that did happen to win champions last year. So they were able to advance, even though it was a sweep. It was a lot closer than what the scoreboard might lead you to believe. As far as in the fun, the FPX versus Carmine Corp, as I had talked about as far as in the video earlier this week, this isn't the same team, the same FPX that we had seen at Champions. This isn't the new Chinese roster. They did look pretty good, I'm not going to lie. However, at times they looked a little flat. I'm not sure if that was Carmine Corp just playing really aggressive and really strong, or something about the FPX roster maybe just needing a little bit more time. Regardless, though, it was Carmine Corp that did end up coming out on top, and they looked really, really good while doing it. Now, as far as in the bottom half, as far as the alpha bracket, BBL Esports DRX, that went pretty well exactly how we expected. DRX did come out. Actually, I'm sorry. DRX actually dropped a map there. They ended up dropping Ascent. It was close, 13-11, but DRX still didn't come out on top just as we had anticipated. Now, in the bottom half of my bracket, technically my bracket, the one that I told you guys about in the previous video, is technically busted because I expected Paper X to come out on top in that Cloud9 versus Paper X matchup. However, if you guys watched that video, you might remember that I had said the winner of this matchup, I thought would be the team that qualified from that lower bracket. What I'm really excited about, guys, when it comes to this alpha bracket, is this first round matchup between Cloud9 and Paper X. If there is any game that I felt like in the first round would really be able to give us a good idea of a team that would be qualified from the alpha bracket, I think it's going to be this one. We'll kind of touch back on that a little bit later. I know a lot of my folks, as far as in my community, have a really good feeling towards Cloud9, but I do think I'm going to have to roll with Paper X. So even though Paper X technically out, I did qualify that match. So if Cloud9 still moves on, I mean, I'm still technically right. Right? Anyways, as far as our last 2 games here that we did see go down today, we did have Team Heretics versus Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses looked really, really stout in that. That was actually a 2-0. Both of them were 13-8, if I'm not mistaken. We saw them both Pearl and Ascent, but they looked really good. I expect them to honestly have a pretty deep run throughout the course as far as at Sao Paulo And then what I was really surprised at, if we're being quite honest, first off, we've seen America's doing really good thus far in the bracket. I believe actually up until this point, America's had been undefeated. However, against Talent Esports, MIBR ended up getting swept. In front of the home crowd was kind of devastating to watch, but that was America's first team to get knocked out there in São Paulo. So that's our 8 teams that are left. Now we're going to be seeing the top matchups here as far as what we're going to be seeing going on. That's Friday's matchup starting at 12 for NRG versus Giants Gaming. And then I believe it's 3 p.m. Eastern time for Loud versus Carmine Corp. And then the bottom half of it is going to be on Saturday, DRX versus Cloud9, Evil Geniuses versus Talent Esports. And then our 2 semifinal games, which will give us our 2 qualified teams. Those will be on Sunday. So again, make sure you're tuned in over here if you want to go ahead and catch the action with your boy. All right. Now, I did expect NRG to qualify out of that top bracket. So I am still going to run as far as with them taking that that dub there. And I do think I still have to rock with Loud Esports. I do think I still have to rock with Loud as well. I mean, Loud just looked, I mean, really solid, if we're being honest, as far as today. As good as Carmine Corp looked yesterday, Loud honestly looked even better. They've also got the home crowd behind them. They're going to be following up what was a good game and a good series today. Tomorrow, I expect them to go back-to-back, which means it'll be NRG versus Loud over here as far as in the semifinals there. Now, down under here, as far as the other part of our bracket, we're going to have DRX versus Cloud9, like I said earlier, and like I said in the previous video, right? I did think that the winner of this matchup right here would be the team to qualify in the bottom half of our alpha bracket. I think Cloud9 does beat DRX. I think it's going to be a close matchup. And I do think Evil Geniuses advances as well, just like I had anticipated in my video earlier this week. And of course, with that, Cloud9 advancing. So I think Cloud9 advances and NRG Esports also advances as well. I think it's one of those things where we're just seeing, I mean, at least out of the alpha bracket right now, we're definitely seeing a lot of dominance out of the NA region. We are also seeing a lot of our games in São Paulo, surprisingly, even though they are best of, you only get single one elimination. I keep wanting to call it best of one. It's a best of 3 single elimination. I would have anticipated a lot more of these matchups going to that third map. We haven't seen quite as much, but I think even with the amount of sweeps, we should be really excited with a lot of the parity in the franchise league here, the partner league here, I should say. So I hope you guys are excited. I know I am. Like I said, we're going to be back here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, starting at noon for some watch parties. So if y'all enjoyed this video, for one, do me a favor, hit that like, leave me some comments down below as far as your picks. Those 2 things help me out the most on my brand new channel over here, getting to that algorithm. And if y'all enjoy the vibes, want to be back for those watch parties, since we are chasing down that first 100 subs over here on the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on, and we'll catch y'all right back here. All right, until we do catch y'all back over here, do me a favor, and with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. All right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be as fresh as see you.